Joining us. We got people coming into the room here this evening, and looks like it's going to be a good show tonight. We've got lots of questions queued up, but there's always time for you to ask your own questions. Just you can throw them in the chat down below. We'll be glad to answer those along with everything else. And I see some people are already starting to gather in here. Let's greet a few people. We got Tom up in Rhinelander. Good evening. Bruce, KE8QFP. I know we've chatted a few times. So
down in Ohio, yep.
Down in Ohio, thanks for joining us. Alan from Anaheim. He's a regular. Thanks for dropping in.
Coast to coast tonight.
Coast to coast it is.
And the northern coast in Canada, or almost Canada.
Almost Canada. Minnesota's Iron Range.
We should say happy meteorological. I can't talk already tonight. I've only opened the first beer. Happy meteorological spring.
Yes, that's March 1st.
Astronomical. It's meteorological.
Yes.
It's now spring, and it's been like spring like here in Wisconsin. It was 45 today, I think. It's going to be the 50s this weekend. Yep. Holy smokes. 3 weeks ago, it was 25 below. Now, it's beautiful out. Why am I sitting in my basement still?
So I heard a new term. I was listening to some meteorologists talk on the radio last week, and they've got another term called statistical spring. And that is on March 10th, and that's the point when in Wisconsin, it's March 10th for Wisconsin, but that's the point statistically when you will no longer have below zero weather. So it's the low is not going to go below 0 degrees Fahrenheit. And,
you think
statistical spring.
Famous last words, statisticians. Wow, there's a big word tonight.
Yeah, that's about it.
Statistician. I can't talk. It's live.
More coming in here. We Don from Central Kansas. Steelers logo. My son loves the Steelers.
You should disown
Charleston,
him.
South Carolina. Oops. Claire from Eau Claire. Good evening. Henry and Mike. Mike, we've got a couple questions on the list here, so we'll be getting to you in the live stream. So thanks for joining us. And then back to Henry here. A little town called Hobart, Oklahoma. And do you know of anyone where I can take my ham license test at? The best thing I can tell you is to go to a place called hamstudy.org, hamstudy.org, and they've got a list of testing venues, either online or in person. So search there and see if there's any online tests being offered, or if there's an in-person testing session in your neck of the woods. So check that out at hamstudy.org.
Yeah, fingers. Is this sufficiently crossed right here? Sufficiently crossed.
That almost looked like a double cross.
Well, whatever it means. So our amateur radio club here in Wausau is going to have our first VE session, testing session, this Saturday. It's the first one in a year, almost a year to the day. Our last one is seriously the morning of, we considered canceling because it was just at the time that everything was shutting down. The first wave of COVID was coming, and the morning of, like an hour before we're supposed to start, we're having a discussion like, should we even have this? We didn't know what COVID was. A week before, we thought, well, it's something in, somewhere on the other side of the world. Now it's like, it's in our faces.
Yep.
And, I think it would have been like a week later, no way, Jose, we would never have had it. No. But we were still pretty naive at the time. And we had it. Fortunately, nothing happened. Everyone was okay. But no, it's been a year now. We had to find a venue that we could really still spread out. Masks still required, pre-registration. We're not checking everyone's temperature at the door, but
we'll Yeah, we'll make sure everybody's healthy. So
Right. I'm really cautious on this one, but I think it's time because we're getting 3-4 emails a week saying, when can we take a test?
oh yeah, yeah.
Our friend in Hobart there, you're not the only one. My recommendation, you said hamstudy.org,
Mhm.
ARRL.org,
Yep.
W5YI is the other
They have-
big BEC. You can check any of those. And if you can't find it in person, you can still do the online ones. It's the exact same cost.
Yep.
And as long as you can get a laptop or a computer with a webcam, and I think probably your phone with a webcam too. I think
Yeah.
most of them require two cameras going.
Well, I think you need a laptop to take the test, and then then you need a webcam or a phone or something like that so they can monitor you. So
right, yeah. Basically, what I'm doing right here, right now, is that I actually have, because we use StreamYard, so I have StreamYard up on the laptop down here, but I'm using my phone as the camera.
Yep.
It works here. That works knowing full well that my wife and both of my daughters are probably streaming upstairs, and I'm not lagging right now.
As long as they're not uploading,
if you're in a rural area, I could see where that could be a little bit of a problem. So
yeah,
I hope you got one close to you there, buddy. If not, try the online option.
Otherwise, it's Oklahoma to Wisconsin. It's about a 25-hour drive. So maybe 20 hours. So
I've done those. It's not good.
Yeah.
But if you leave tomorrow, you can be here at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
There you go.
I don't know if you have any sleep or if you'll be able to actually take the test, but yeah, you could come, I guess.
All right. So I got a couple here. Alan says he purchased one of my J-poles a few years ago, and then he built his own today. So good job. Glad to hear it turned out great for you.
Yeah, it's fun. Building a J-pole, I don't want to say anything bad about your J-poles, Michael. But building a J-pole is kind of like a Jedi building his first lightsaber.
Oh yeah,
it's
absolutely.
The first antenna you make, and it's kind of fun when you get it in your hands. You're like, all right, I'm going to work the world, and then no one answers you when you call on the repeater.
Oh yeah. No, I absolutely agree. And otherwise, and if you don't want to build your own, you can check them out at the website there. So. Yep. But, all right. And I said, we had, like I said, we had Steve from Midcars. I know we've talked a few times.
I check that on Midcars. That's always a good one to check the 40-meter dipole on.
Yep. Check into there when you want to, see if your antenna works. I've been having some noise issues at home, and 40 meters has just been tough for me for the last couple of months. So my once the snow melts and it gets warmer out, I'm going to be on a hunt for some electrical interference to see if I can figure out where this noise is coming from around my neighborhood. So
well, we have another ham in our club, James. Katie and I know we always got the same problem. He bought an HF radio from me. It works. We brought it back here, we plugged it in and it works, but he's got 10/9 noise on every band. And we've been over, the power company's been over.
Oh, they have?
Figure it out.
Okay. So, well, I found some plans to build one of those sniffer kind of antennas, so we'll see if that can help. So.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, I have a antenna analyzer, and it has a field strength meter too. If you want to use that, so.
Oh, that might work too. So, well, like I said, that's the project when it gets a little bit warmer. So, got a good question here. We're going to start. I think we'll start out with one right away. And thank you, Claire. But any plans for the Wisconsin QSO party? And we do have plans for the Wisconsin QSO party, and we'll
absolutely
explain that a little bit. The second weekend in March is typically QSO party time for us residents in the state of Wisconsin. I've been doing it almost my entire amateur radio career. I think the first year I did the Wisconsin QSO party, I was still a Tech Plus or a General, or I didn't have any HF equipment, but I had a 2-meter mobile, and we hit the road down to the Fox Valley, and I made about 30 contacts just cruising around some of the bigger cities on the east side of the state. So it was must have been around 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, I think my first Wisconsin QSO party was in your basement.
Probably
2015.
Yep.
Yep. So I was in your basement. I was a new tech. Probably had my license 4 months. That was the first time I think I was on HF.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had our club's got a couple radios. So we brought down the old Kenwood TS 850, which is just a beast of a radio. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
25 years old, but yeah, if you have a Kenwood 850 in your shack, it's a great radio, and they'll run forever. Anyways, I remember making contacts, and I didn't even know the band edges. So I started going places. I keep going up and up the dial, trying to find a place to call. And then I finally found. No, I think it went down. I was going down. I actually was in the extra portion,
Oh, jeez.
and I didn't know what was going on. And Michael's like, "You need to go back up, Joe." Like, whoa.
It's a good learning experience.
Yeah, it was a learning experience. Fortunately, Michael was an extra at the time, and he, was a control operator because he was watching really good that day.
And we were using the club call too, so it was
right.
We had a little bit of latitude there.
A little bit, but yeah, eventually I figured it out, and I think we made quite a few contacts. One of my favorites amateur radio experiences was 2 years ago during the QSO party. Me and Michael were called. Michael was you were logging, and I was calling. And about 4:00 in the afternoon, 40 meters just exploded.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
we had a hell of a pileup. And our club call, which is W9NA, was actually one of our founding members' call signs, Reno Gage. And Reno was one of the first A1 operators from the ARRL. He had worked all states, DXCC on every continent, like 5 bands, you name it. He was he won sweepstakes.
He was like when you talk about the CQD, the CQDX high honor roll, I think he was one of the top half dozen of the world. So
yeah. No, he's been gone 20 years now, or pretty close to 20 years now. But anyways, so we're calling, CQ Whiskey 9 November Alpha, and we get this call back, Whiskey 9 November Alpha. I haven't heard that call in years. Like, what? Well, yeah, maybe not. But so it was actually another contester who knew Reno. In fact, this guy, when you had honor roll for sweepstakes, Reno was 1. This guy was number 2. He's like, Reno always beat me. So I took it. I think he was in Virginia or maybe Maine. I don't remember.
I think it was Maryland.
Exactly.
I think it was Maryland. Yeah.
So I took his call down and I looked him up at QRZ, and I talked to him for a little bit, and he had some great stories. Just amazing. 20 years after he's gone, and you're still connecting with people that made contacts with him.
Isn't that amazing?
The league, back in the 50s and 60s, made a publication on how to keep a log up. And they used his call sign, his original call sign, which was not W9NA, but they used his call sign in there because he was one of the first A1 operators. So it's a really great story. And it really, it brings back the idea of, ham radio is just not right now. We have generations and generations of hams that we built a hobby on. And when you kind of make those connections, it's really cool.
Yep. So this year with the QSO party, I'm going to do something a little bit different. And I've never, of all my years, I've worked at home, I've worked at other places, I've worked at club stations, but I've never worked mobile. Well, the first year I worked mobile with the 2-meter rig. So I guess I'm going to go back to what I did 20 years ago, and I'm going to work mobile again. And my plan is to do at least 3 or 4 stops, because I'm going to kind of combine it as a QSO party / Parks on the Air radar run. So I hope to get at least 3 parks during the event in northern Wisconsin, ones that in counties that are typically underserved for the QSO party. So I don't know exactly which counties it's going to be, but it's going to be probably counties where there's more trees than people. Yeah, that's probably the best. Once I get my map figured out, I will post it on the Wisconsin QSO Party website. You can find that at it's the West Dallas Radio Amateur Club that sponsors it. So it's like WARAC.org, warac.org, where you can find the rules. And that's Sunday, March 14th starts at 1:00 p.m. Central Time, or 1800 Zulu, and then it runs until 8:00 p.m. Central Time the same day. It's just a 1-day event, and it's also the first day of daylight saving time. So remember to set your clocks ahead an hour, or you'll miss part of it.
Spring forward.
So spring forward. Yep.
Another funny QSO party story was, so again, I was just licensed. Maybe it was my second or third year licensed, and I kind of did what you were doing. I started off at my parents' place one day running QRP, and that was Marquette County. So that's about an hour and a half south of here.
Mm-hmm.
And I started off down there, and I worked about 2 hours down there, and then I started heading north back home. And I stopped at a gas station about halfway between their house and my house. And I'm at the gas station, and all of a sudden this SUV pulls in, and it has a pontoon trailer with 2 posts, one on back, one on the front, and they got wires strung between it. And on the front of the trailer, on the tongue, there was a cooler. That's where the tuner was. so they had figured out a way how to tune that down to 80 meters, running straight end bits. And they were running for the QSO party. Of course, I said, go to 5.2 Simplex. I'm going to give you a freebie one here, guys. But that's like really cool. Like, you got to be kind of crazy to have to think, hey, I got an old pontoon trailer. Can we make it a 10 out of that?
That's great. All right, we're going to move on here. Bruce asks, is the Nano VNA sufficient for measuring SWR of an antenna, or do you recommend MFJ or Rig Expert Analyzer? The Nano VNA is definitely sufficient. It'll give you SWR and a whole lot more. So it's the advantage of the Nano is it's very affordable. Mm-hmm. You can get them for as low as $50. The downside of the Nanos are that they have a little bit of a learning curve to them. To really get utility out of them, you need to hook them up to a PC so you can download the information and then massage it a little bit with the software. So it's a little bit, it's not quite as straightforward as, say, like an all-in-one meter, or analyzer such as that. Advantages of going with something like an MFJ or Rig Expert is it's in a convenient package. It's a little more ruggedized. It's got a easy to read display. It's a little more straightforward to operate. Really,
you don't have to calibrate it for every use.
Mm-hmm.
The Nano VNA, you have to calibrate. Now, calibration isn't that hard.
No,
but there are some tricks to it in order to get the proper information out of it. Yep. However, if you use now, I have a Rig Expert. I love Rig Expert. I think they are the bee's knees. But a Nano VNA is going to give you more information, and they're reasonably accurate for under $100.
They really are. They really are.
I'm not going to knock them at all. But if you want something that you can throw in a bag, if you're going to do parks on the air, if you want something at home, I think the Rig Expert's really good. We both use the MFJ as well. The reason I don't like the MFJ is it doesn't really have the 259, 269 series.
Yeah,
they're not really graphical. They don't have a good graphical display. They eat batteries.
Oh yeah, they do.
I think that's 10 or 12 AA batteries.
10 AA's, and if you forget to, and the power button is easy to turn, to press and turn on, and if you leave it, if you bump it and you leave it sit on your shelf for a day, then you got to buy another 10 AA's.
Yeah, and it's big and bulky. It's heavy. Yeah, especially with the AA's. The Rig Expert uses 2 AA's, or is it 2 AA's? They don't last that long.
No.
You sit it, you get a couple uses out of it in 6 months, and then the batteries are probably dead.
Yeah.
But it's very light. It goes in a backpack real easy, especially if you have the Nano stick or the stick.
Stick. Well, the stick is really nice, because it takes a lithium battery, so it lasts even longer.
Yeah. The Nano VNA has a rechargeable battery, I believe. But that's got its pluses and minuses. And it's USB powered. So Now, the other thing too is, do you know how to read a Smith chart? If you feel comfortable reading a Smith chart, the Nano VNA then is a reasonable solution, I really think. But if you want something quick and dirty, you just want a line graph with a dip.
Yep.
And you want to make it quick and dirty, the rig experts are the way to go.
Or if you want to tune, if you want to tune something, like if you've got like a vertical antenna like the Wolf River Coil or something like that, you can put the rig expert into the constant SWR mode. Yep. And it'll show you a graph, and you can just move that collar up and down and watch in near real time, so you don't have to always keep making sweeps. So that's one nice advantage of it. So.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to knock off other than the MFJ because it takes so many batteries. But the MFJ's been around 20 years.
20 years. I bought mine 20 years ago. So.
Yeah. And they're very rugged, and they'll do the job. Just as fine. It's going to show you resistance. It's going to show you reactance, and it's going to give you an SWR. Really, all you need.
Yep. Chris says, the rig expert uses 3 AA's, so it's.
I have the AA54, and I think it only uses 2. But the newer models are all color. They have the TFT screen, I think. So you probably 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think you can get lithium batteries for them too, so they make them rechargeable. So with that, we do get
the 223 is graphical. I think they made one. I haven't seen one. I'm familiar with the 259 and the 269 series. So
that's their vector. Yeah, that's their vector analyzer, and it is a graphical analyzer. So we're gonna kind of take a pause here. We'll let the chat to kind of catch up and see if we get some more questions in the chat. But I did get an email, and it's from Mike here, Mike Rose, and he says, in regards to Podo or Parks on the Air, they say a minimum of 5 contacts, actually it's 10 contacts on any amateur radio band using any mode, if using FM for VHF or UHF for simplex only, use any power level allowed within the terms of your license. So his question is that if you use single sideband on either UHF or VHF, I'm assuming you can use a repeater. So let's talk about that talking about Parks on the Air, and what are some of the opportunities if you've got a technician class license on how you can kind of take it, participate in the program. So, number one is that with Parks on the Air is, unfortunately, repeater contacts aren't allowed. So if you're going to be operating in the field, with VHF or UHF, it would be simplex. You could do FM simplex. That's perfectly acceptable. Downside of that is that people, you may not have the, depending on, where the park is, the range or the ability to contact people. If it's an urban, if the park's in an urban setting, maybe you'll get more people, responding to your call than if the park's in the middle of nowhere. So kind of think about that. If the park is in a high location, like a mountain or something like that, that might be a good spot for VHF or UHF. Sideband, if you get an all mode radio, of course, sideband is another option, and that will get your signal out further. So a couple other things you can think about with, if you've just got the technician license, is the 10-meter band. 10 meters, we're going to start a solar cycle 25, so 10 meters is going to start to perk up, especially in the summer months. So you've got all of 10 meters that you can work. Well, you've got up to
23 to 28.5.
Yeah, 23 to 28.5. So and actually 28. I think you can actually work below 28.3 with CW too. Yep. on 10 meters. So you've got that. There's a lot of options there. 6 meters in the summertime. It is 6. I know a guy that did a 6-meter activation, over at High Cliff State Park in Wisconsin. It's a nice. I did that winter field day out there, and it's got that nice escarpment, and he just pointed his antenna west and worked a whole bunch of people. He got some pretty good distance out there with 6-meter FM of all things. So it's that's another thing to think about. June is usually a really good month for 6-meter. So if you've got that ability, that would be another good one. And then, of course, let's see, 15 meters, 40 meters, and 80 meters CW.
Yep.
There's the old novice sections are available to technicians. So
don't be afraid to try CW. Even I think the thing that bothers people with CW, and Mike and I will both attest to us because we started working on CW again, is that they get scared. And the one thing that I've noticed about the folks that work CW is that they are very forgiving, and they will slow down for you. So if you're only going 5 words a minute, they'll come down to 5 words a minute for you. So don't think that don't think you're insulting anyone. If that's all you can work and you get down there, you'll find out you'll have a pile up in no time. And working parks on the air, it can just be a very simple QSO. Giving out the park number and the signal reports. And if you start doing that and you start getting, after about 3 or 4 of them, then you start hearing a few more things and it gets a little easier. By your 3rd or your 4th activation, you still may be going 5 words a minute, but you really start picking up code.
Absolutely. And CW has been really popular with Parks on the Air lately. So people are really getting into that. And, don't worry about your code speed because people will slow down to match your ability. So be sure to check that out. Somebody asked, let's see here, on that, does Parks on the Air allow satellite contacts? And I believe the answer on that would be no, because a satellite contact would be going through not a repeater, but a transponder. So it would be that would be an assisted contact.
Right. There's plenty of things you can do with satellites. Parks on the Air is not one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Now the question is, can you do boot belts for Parks on the Air?
Actually, you could. You actually could.
There's no electrical doohickey between us and the moon you're getting off of.
Nope.
I wonder if you could do a 10 gig Parks on the Air.
Well,
you'd have to schedule everything in advance.
Yeah, you'd have to, and scheduling is actually is fine and dandy with the Parks on the Air program. You can spot yourself, and you can announce to people, "I'm going to be such and such a place on such and such a frequency." So if you want a better chance of success, especially on VHF and UHF, make some schedules and get people lined up so you can get your 10 contacts. Nothing wrong with that.
There is you can spot yourself on the Parks on the Air website, and Parks on the Air has a Facebook page too that you can spot yourself on. That's very active. So if you're going out the morning of, you don't think you'll have internet access, you can still post it on there, and people.
Oh yeah, they will. So, all right, and we're gonna kind of switch gears a little bit here because we're at the bottom of the hour, and I'm just going to want to kind of remind everybody that you can help support the mission to educate and inspire. That's by becoming a member of Patreon. That's at patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas. Some of the advantages of being a member over on Patreon is that not only do you support the channel and help it grow, but you get we've got some bonus extra footage over there. You get early access to all of the videos, ad-free for the first 24 hours. So which is a really nice deal. You don't have to sit through all of those ads, and it's a growing community. So that's over at patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas. And speaking,
I keep saying, one of these days, we are going to do the KD9 CJX Shack tour, and it's going to be Patreon only. Probably because we don't want the general public to see everything. Like this little hovel in my basement that I have so much stuff that's like piled to the walls. We'll go through some of that stuff, and who knows.
There you go. And speaking of early access, there's a new video is dropping tomorrow for the general public. I just released it this afternoon to the patrons, and it's on the I've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, but it's my review on the Shark HF stick antennas. It'll be available come tomorrow afternoon. We'll get it. It'll go live to everybody. Patrons are enjoying it ad free right now. if you want to check that out. We learned this was an interesting review to make, and we kind of learned learned really some interesting stuff about the antennas. And I'm just going to play a little bitty clip here. It's about 90 seconds from this video, just to kind of whet your appetite on what you can expect tomorrow. If you follow the Parks on the Air activities, you'll find that the Shark Sticks are a popular choice with activators for their performance and convenience. So we're going to take a look at these antennas so you can decide for yourself if you want to add one to your antenna arsenal. I need to mention a problem I'm having with the 40-meter stick. On the other antennas in the set, I have no problem getting the SWR down to 1.3 to 1 or less, with the exception of the 40 meters HF stick antenna. For that one, the best I could actually get it down to is about 1.9 to 1. Now, I've done a little bit of research and talking with others about this issue, and it appears that the 40-meter stick can be quite sensitive to the capacitive coupling that occurs between the magnet mount base and your vehicle. But on that issue, I recently talked to Dave, KZ9V, who has had a lot more experience with the Shark Sticks and also has really spent a lot more time working out that SWR issue with the 40-meter stick. And here's a portion of our telephone conversation that you might find interesting.
So the mystery still remains on that 40-meter stick, and the magical solution, which, I've tried it several times now, and I just can't get it to fail, is that.
All right.
Oh, cliffhanger!
So if you want to find out what the magical solution is, it's going to drop tomorrow afternoon at about 3 p.m. Central Time. So.
Oh my God! He cut the video. No.
Oh.
I think I did a walk away for a minute. That would have cut right back to me. Not being here.
All right. Somebody asked here, Alan, I got a good question. We recommend using an end-fed half-wave or an end-fed random wire in an urban area, or they can pick up more noise compared to a dipole. Let's see. I use a G5 RV. So, Joe, you've got an end-fed. Do you find it noisier than? Random. Yeah. Do you find it noisy?
Yeah, they can be noisy. So because they're broadbanded, they're very broadbanded. So they tend to pick up noise. Now, I live in an urban environment. I've had some problems. It's not been generalized problems. It's been specific. Most notably, I had the street lights across the street from me that would come on and cause some problems. That's since been taken care of. But normally I'm looking at with my FTDX 3000, I have like an S3, S5, depending on the day. If it's a bad day solar wise, the S7, S9. But S3, S4, sometimes less. Higher bands, it's less. So I'm not going to say it's bad. It's very usable. It's very usable. Make sure you have an external tuner if you do the random wire. Now, if you go with a end-fed half-wave, that's going to be tuned for the band that you cut it for, and that band in itself shouldn't be as bad as picking up noise. It's going to be resonant in that location. You're going to get more noise. At resonance, it's going to have a higher feed point impedance, but it's resonant. So, my opinion is if you're in an urban situation and you kind of got a limited space, get whatever you can up in the air.
Yeah.
And then play with the length a little bit. Get as much as you can up in the air. Even if it's not in a straight line, if you got to curve it a little bit, put a little bit of dog leg in it, that's fine. And then start playing with it a little bit, because experimentation with those is the best. And you'll find something that'll work. And you may be able to get 80 meters. You may be able to get 160. Usually you can get 40 and up. But the more wire you get up, the likelier. I can get 80. I can tune to 160. Yeah, so I like listening on 160. We'll just say that. But I can work 80 all day. I can work 80 NBIS and any state net I check into. I'm in crystal clear. So there's that.
Good deal. So and I think you make an important point. If you live in a residential area in a city, really, the best antenna is the one that you can fit in your city lot. I've got what's considered a standard lot, 60 by 120 feet, and the house is positioned so that I wanted a multi-band antenna, and the best antenna that fit my lot was the G5RV, and it works well. It works very well for my location, and I've got no complaints. I've worked DX with it. I work local with it, so it's it's the best antenna is the one that you can fit, in the space you've got available. But vertical antennas, you get it up in the air, and see what you can hear. So, okay, let's see if we got any other questions here. Somebody's asked, I couldn't get the MFJ 20-meter sticks resonant at all, returning them for the 40-meter sticks. Check out the video tomorrow. You might find, I don't want to give out the secrets of the video, but you might find that some of the information that when I'm talking about the shark sticks might pertain to the MFJ stick also. If you're having problems getting it to tune, you might want to check that out. So.
Yeah, and I guess resonate is a very broad term. Mm-hmm. You want to get a SWR below 1.5 to 1, and at 20 meters, it's not nearly as high Q as an antenna as say a 40 or 80 or even 160. Yep. So it may not necessarily be the antenna on 20 meters. Mm-hmm. Make sure you check your coax, check your connections, all that sort of stuff. Coax goes bad. If you do the math and you put the antenna together right, it's not the antenna. It's the coax. And you can have brand new coax and it can be junk.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. Those connectors are not perfect by any means. Or you could have external situations such as trees or other objects that can throw that off. So I'm interested in the shark video personally. On my Explorer, I have an ATAS 100, the old version of the Yaesu, and she's finally bit the dust. And realistically, if I had 2 sticks for 20 and 40, I'd be a happy guy. That's really all I ever listen to when I'm driving. Yeah. So that may be the way for me to go. Just keep up. But how long are they, Michael?
They are I got one here. It's
I'm making faces on you here.
This part, the fiberglass part, I think this is 44 inches. Okay. And then the whip that I'm knocking everything over. This is 48. So 44
not the plus, license plate.
Yeah, I'm knocking my license plate. So it's 92 inches, 8 feet.
Oh boy.
Let's say 8 feet. So it's almost up to the top of my basement ceiling here. So
what you're saying is it'll probably hit the awning when I go through McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah, I've done that. Well, I used to have a 10-meter ham stick on the car, back in that. Yep, I've done that. So
and a 5/8 wave 2-meter that did that.
I did that in a parking garage. And I was in Columbus, Ohio, and I was going through a public parking ramp, and I had the 5/8 wave on the back, and every time we went, just every 8 feet where there was a pipe or a concrete pillar beam, it was like pew, 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 and it just resonated all through the garage. It was great. Now I got a little bit more
ham sexy than that right there.
now I think on the Subaru I got that Comet SBB7, and there's a couple ramps in and that I've been in, like down in Madison and Milwaukee, that I go through the gate and then I stop. I put the car in park and I take the antenna off right away. So. Or I take it off right before I get into the gate. So it's people honking at me, but it's that antenna is a little more expensive than the previous one. So
Right.
Gregory says, have you ever tried using 2 ham sticks in a dipole configuration? I have not, but that's on my list of things to do. And it does work. It works very well. But I'm thinking of making a construction video in the next month so you can build your own ham stick dipole box. So it's hopefully we'll get that going. And we got another question here, and I think this is a good time to kind of break into this one because Mike Rose asked this one again too, and he's up in Maine, beautiful place, and he wants to start a club. So not just ham radio, in general, but the emergency aspect at all, and there's not too much. There's no clubs or not much activity up in his neck of the woods. So he's kind of asking about some general information on starting a club to promote ham radio. So I haven't started a club, but I've been involved in working with our local ham radio club for 20 some years, and I know Joe is
my predecessor. And you know what? If you want to run for president again, you certainly can. I would let you do that.
Oh, geez. I don't know how many times I've done that. So
right. I know how many I have.
So starting a club, and I think it can be, getting started with a ham radio club. It can be as simple as just getting a group of people together and maybe meeting for breakfast once a week and see how things kind of coalesce. And that's really loosely organized. And but if you want to take it the next step further, then you really need to think about organization, and that's where we get into things like constitution and bylaws, and with the possibility of incorporation. And if you and that's where it the ARRL's got resources on that. If you ever want to hit go that route, it's their affiliated club resources. So and they'll tell you how to create a constitution and bylaws. And even if you don't think the club's going to go anywhere, it's I don't want to collect dues, or I don't want to amass equipment. It may be still a good idea to have sort of not a formalized constitution, but just a sort of a general outline or agreement on things.
Basic
rules. What basic rules, roles. What your purpose is. Membership requirements, how you're going to meet, if you're going to have officers and things like that, finances, and what to do if you want to dissolve. So that's the kind of things you've got to kind of think about, and the league can really help you on that if you really want to get on, want to get so formalized on that. But just kind of starting out, the easiest thing to do is like I said, is to start, maybe like a weekly or monthly breakfast kind of thing, and then see if you can get, back in my Boy Scout days, we used to say, wanted to start a new troop. Well, we need 2 adults and 6 kids. So if you can get 6-8 people together, you got yourself a club. I think it's as easy as that. So
one thing to consider, you have some very specific, in your email here, I have it here, you have some very specific ideas of what you want to do. You need to keep it as broad as possible in a rural area. If you're in a very, like a big urban area, okay, then you can have a specific club for emergency communications, for microwave, for contesting. But in a rural area where you don't have a lot of people, you need to keep everyone's interest. And you got to understand that the club is going to direct where it's going to go and what it's going to do. So I think it's good to get a club going. You talk a lot about emergency communications here.
Yep.
And that's a very good thing. But remember, not everyone wants to do emergency communications.
Yeah.
Your best bet for long-term growth, long-term sustainability, and to spread the seed of amateur radio is to keep it general and to support any and all amateur radio endeavors.
Yeah.
And that's coming from me being president for the past 5 years of an amateur radio club in central Wisconsin, is that we do everything. There's a little bit of contesting. There is a little bit of public service. There is a little bit of experimentation, and you got to foster all of that. And I'll say this, and I've said it to the club, being the president is the worst part about being at ham because I got to do things I don't want to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to do it all.
And Michael, you've done it too.
I've done it too. Yeah.
It's very rewarding. It really is. But it's some days I just want to sit in my shack and listen.
I know what you mean.
I love doing test sessions. I love being the guy that sits down next to the testee and saying, "Well, I hate to tell you, but now you got to take your general because you passed your tech." I enjoy doing that, but some days I just want to be the guy in the shack making a couple calls and having a good time or building something. Because there's a lot of responsibility with a club too. At the end of the day, it's all the politics. There's politics involved.
Oh yeah.
Not political things, but keeping everyone happy. There's taking care of the business. Our club has 13 repeaters. Some we've inherited, some we built. Something happens with one of those, or there's an issue at a tower site. I'm the guy who's got to, take a half day off work, go to talk with someone, to try to figure things out. And sometimes I don't have enough hair to pull out. But just remember that if this is where you want to go, you are going to be a servant of the amateur radio community. And God bless you. God bless you. But be ready for some days where you just want to just pound your head on the desk and say, "I'm done. I should have stayed at CB."
Yeah. Well, now that we said all of that, it's also forming a club and participating with a club is greatly rewarding. So it can be, when you do a public service event and everything comes off right, it's the greatest feeling in the world. So, or you have a test, or if you sponsored a testing session and everybody passes, and
that kid passes all 3 tests in one sitting.
Yeah. So it's great.
Someone's kid gets their license for the first time, or field day, and everyone comes out and has a great time. Those are great things.
Oh yeah.
Again, you pull your hair out, but it's great.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to just finish up here with the emergency communications aspect, because if you're really serious about emergency communications, then the ARRL's ARES, or Amateur Radio Emergency Service Program, would be the place you want to explore. And there should be a section emergency coordinator in the state of Maine, and that would be the person you'd want to kind of talk to if you really want to think about starting an ARES group in your county. And talk to your section, either talk to your section emergency coordinator or your section manager for the state of Maine, and they will they'll help you get connected with your local emergency manager. That's a county position that if you really want to get into that emergency communications kind of thing. So
yep, absolutely.
So, and I'm going to move on here. So I saw another question that looked, actually Mike says, follow-up question here. Some people dislike the term club. Is there anything more user-friendly to call it? It's called Saturday Morning Hams and Eggs. So
we have a local guy actually, and that's what he started. Just hams and eggs. Saturday mornings, the fourth Saturday of the month. It's been on hold. This is the first Saturday in a year that they've been able to do it.
yeah,
They just get together. There's no specific interest. Like, you have a license, show up. You're thinking about getting a license, show up.
Yep.
Get some eggs. We'll talk about something. It's a good time. It's really a good group, and that may just be the easiest way to start the ball rolling.
Or call yourself, the Millinocket Social Club or something like that. Maybe you're a drinking club with a ham radio problem. So
Or vice versa.
or vice versa.
Like we are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh. So should we talk about the problem? My blood pressure problem?
I'm going to talk about one more thing, and then we're going to talk about the problem.
Okay,
because
we'll finish off the night with that.
Yeah, Ellis is you'll drive everybody away once you say. In the world of verticals, does slope matter when installing radios? I have plenty of room, but it's on the side of a hill. No, not really. If they're laying on the ground, they're laying on the ground. If it's flat, or if it's at an angle, you should be fine with that.
It might affect directionality a little.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, Ellis, let us know how it works. If you find it's a little bit directional the one way, because I've never heard of anyone doing it, it shouldn't really affect anything, because really what you're creating is a ground plane and lowering your ground resistance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've worked with some antennas like the Wolf River Coil or the Buddy Stick, the Buddy Pole. The Buddy Stick is the vertical.
Buddy Stick is the vertical.
They generally say that if you use a single counterpoise, is that you're going to have some directionality to where the counterpoise is running. So does that mean if you have a little bit of a slope, maybe it's not even this big of a slope, maybe it's like this.
Yeah.
Does
if it's like side of the hill, I'd be really.
So realistically, do it, run it. Let us know how it works, because you may be the only person who's ever really figured it out. There's probably a couple broadcast engineers that are like saying, "Oh no, we know," but realistically, broadcast engineers, when they put a tower up, it's flat. And if it ain't flat, they get some earth movers, and they make it flat.
They make it flat. So, yep. Especially those AM ones. So. All right, sounds like it's I like the idea of a drinking club with a ham radio problem. So
well, then you can't call it ham and eggs though, and you can't go at Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Maybe Saturday nights, but it's not Friday, to a restaurant.
Friday night, and then the Saturday morning hams and eggs.
You may need it Saturday morning. Friday night fish fry with a couple of old fashions.
Yep.
There is an interesting Parks on the Air story we cannot talk about on YouTube.
Oh, gee. That might be a Patreon special.
No, that's evidence. That's a statute of limitations. You boys want another?
Yeah.
No, we need a cab.
That's about it. All right. Oh, we're gonna have to start winding things up here. I finally remember QSO cards. I've been getting bunches of these in the mail. The W3 GUI just came a week ago. N9YB, WZ90. K9 TDW. If you work me, and you want a card, I return QSL. So feel free. If you're in the log, we'll get you a card back. And right now it's the limited edition Parks on the Air card. Hopefully, this summer I might have a new one. We'll see.
Edition. Yeah.
Limited edition. Another super chat here. Do additional radios help verticals? And yes, they do. And radios of different size can help verticals too. If you're having, if you want to optimize your radials for different bands, consider a pattern of longer and shorter radials to ones that are maybe, say, if you want to do 40 and 20 or 40 or 50, 40 or 20 is probably would be a good combination. Maybe cut a set of radials for the lowest frequency you're going to go, which might be a 40 or 80 meter band, and then cut another set of radials for one of the higher bands that you really want to focus on, maybe the 20 meter band, and then intersperse them, in that round pattern. And a lot of times when we say portable, we say put 3 or 5 radials out. That's mostly a convenience thing. But if I'm setting up a vertical for long-term use, then think of maybe 8, 12, 16 radials to really increase that performance. After you get up to a certain number, like 30, then you've got you're going to have diminishing returns. But the more the merrier. So.
Yeah. And remember, radial for 40 will work on 15.
Mm-hmm.
So if you cut them for 40 and 20, that pretty much covers you for everything HF above 40. If you cut them for 40 and 80, that gives you even more coverage. If you can get a couple in for 160 and you have a 160 antenna, God bless you.
Yep. There you go. So, and additional radials at different lengths will improve performance. So,
go up one there, Michael. We're going international here. We got some DX on there.
Oh, Nigel from Trinidad. So, Nigel, thanks for joining us this evening. Or I'm not sure what
9Z4 Echo Juliet. Nice.
Oh, good deal. So. Another super chat. Bill asks, "Do you fly up Podo flag?" You know what? I'm going to have to get one of those. I think I might need a flag for the campsite when we're hitting the road.
Do they make the small window flags? For political candidates or for the Green Bay Packers, you just put it in the window, roll the window up, get a couple Podo flags. I think they make a small one. No, I'll put it on the trailer. So put a big 3x5 with a 10-foot mast.
Yeah. But no, I think that's a good idea. I might have to get some flags and stickers for this year, because we're going to be doing we're looking at a good amount of traveling this summer. In fact, I'm gonna spill the beans here first, but we're gonna do a week-long trip later this spring in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So we're gonna try to activate some places that have been activated before, because there's places we want to go to. But I'm gonna try to find 1 or 2 spots that have been that'll be first timers. So that'll be coming up a little bit later this spring. As we get closer to the date, I'll start divulging more of the details, but just kind of mark your calendars for late spring.
Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully everything is starting to calm down now. Everyone get your vaccinations.
Well, there's no people in the UP, so
okay, so maybe.
Only 3% of Michigan's population lives in the UP. So,
but they're the best 3%.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that they are. So
they're really Scotties. They really are. They're a little more hardcore, but they're Scotties.
There you go. So I think to wrap things up, Joe, do you want to go on a rant?
Say it.
All right. So, Joe, you posed this question to me, last week, or you saw it online, and it just kind of pushed your buttons. Is it ham? Capital HAM?
No.
Are you a hammer?
No.
No. And do you ham? So.
Here's my soapbox. I'm on the soapbox. Okay. Do not capitalize HAM.
No.
If it is at the beginning of a sentence, you may capitalize the H. Do not say I am a hammer. because a hammer is a tool that I use to beat things with. Do not capitalize the word net. It's not like a .net. It's a net. It's like a fishing net. Only instead of catching fish, we catch contacts. Just amen, brother. Amen. I am preaching to the choir. Now I get it. It's your first time. You're just getting into the hobby. You don't know the history of it. You don't know that ham meant ham-fisted, and it was actually an insult from the professional telegraphers calling all the amateurs ham-fisted, just like Yankee Doodle was an insult from the English. You don't know that. You think it may stand for something. It does not stand for something. It's not an acronym. It's not an acronym.
No, it is not.
It's just ham, like the stuff we eat on ham and eggs.
There you go.
Now, as my blood pressure slowly resides and I'm calming down, proper etiquette, it irritates me. I don't have OCD very often, but when I do, it's something like that. And I've never come unglued on someone online. God bless my soul. I hope. Thanks, Ellis.
Yep. There we go.
Thanks, IT guy. But just don't capitalize it. Podo can be capitalized. APRS can be capitalized. Don't capitalize ham when you're typing. No!
Ham it up. I think W5YI's got those stickers with the big capital HAM. So.
Hammer it up.
Now they're just killing you.
Wow. You guys are great. Yeah. I hope you're all becoming Patreons here, guys. I mean, this is the best 2 minutes you've had on the internet in weeks.
It probably is.
Dave Parks. Let's end with Dave right here. I am an amateur radio operator. Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Salute.
Oops, typography. Here we go. Yeah. You hammed it.
it. I hammed it. Yeah.
I think we're gonna get hammered if we keep this up. So
all right, let's end this now while we still have our dignity.
Yeah. All right. So finishing up, John asked, would you entertain a special event net appearance on my local repeater via All-Star? So that would be a possibility. Shoot me an email, dates and times or something like that.
You have to cover our travel costs.
I've done Zoom meetings. I've done presentations via Zoom for clubs. So we might be able to do
one for the Long Island CW Club. Is that right?
That's coming up in April, actually. Yes. In April, I'll be doing a presentation on NVIS, near vertical incident skywave propagation, with the Long Island CW Club. So, if you want to, join that group and learn Morse code and hear a great presentation. So, all right. So, Mike says, I hope we all answered all your questions tonight, Mike. So it's been a pleasure. We've had a lot of fun here. Good evening. A lot of great questions. So we'll be back again next month to the first Thursday of the month.
Keep the questions coming in. Sooner or later, I'll have an aneurysm live on the
air. Dave asks, is that he wants to know if that's a Kenwood 820 in your picture. So
on QRZ?
It might be. No,
it's a 520. That was my first HF radio. I sold that a few years ago, but it was a 520. Yeah, I have the FTTX 3000 right now. I run a 991A. God, I have so many radios. And I wish I had that 520 back. Let's get out of here because it's going to get too long.
So thanks a lot, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Really appreciate it. And join us again next month. Keep the questions coming. You can leave them in comments. You can send an email, and we'll all get to them. So with that, I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
And I'm Joe, KD9CJX73.
73.